What's that? I'll forget it. That's my safest bet.
What's going on out there? We're here from Dash, about to go live with Lisa Bentley. Kimberly's just about to introduce her, so we'll keep the camera rolling, get the camera rolling, and start bringing some people on to watch Lisa speak.
There'll be plenty of time to chit-chat afterwards. We will not be closing at 7 tonight, that's for sure.
I'm getting overtime then.
I think I've been logged into the computer for like 4,000, 5,000 hours. That's okay. So tonight we are very honored to have Lisa Bentley here speaking to us. She has written an awesome book, and she is an amazing person. I don't know how many people have ever had the pleasure of working out with her or just being around her, but the positivity and just how amazing she is just comes off every time we're in the pool together, every time. And so this book is an outpouring of that and just all the things that she's learned through her years of racing kind of a bit as an underdog with her sicknesses. And so this book for me has been a great tool to use before races and to use in training to keep my head squared away and to know what got her through. And it can also help everyone because of how universal it is and how we all need to help ourselves a bit in the head. And so this book is a great tool to be able to do that. So she's going to give us some tips and her stories. She has amazing stories of how she's overcome. I remember one time in St. Croix, her shoe fell apart. And she grabbed her power bar and she stuck it on the bottom of her foot. And that is not a course that you actually are able to do that very well. So it's pretty amazing. We also have Garmin here, so if y'all have questions about Garmin's, we've got that. We've got Pam was gracious to come tonight too. So without further ado, yes.
Thank you. It is awesome to be here and to see everyone and to be at this great store. And I've known Kimberly for a long time. Met Kimberly probably in the weight room, and she was like doing some weight workout, and she had like the best core, and she just had Gavin, her first child, and I was like, "Are you kidding me? If I could look like that after having a baby?" It was 2 weeks later. It was unbelievable. Anyways, Kimberly's and Kevin just love having them in the community. I call them the mayor and mayoress very much. I want to share with you a couple little tidbits that I seem to still use and in my day-to-day life, whether that be as a human being, a person, a business person, an athlete, a doggy mom, whatever it happens to be. And the St. Croix story, that was amazing. I am someone who never wants to change things. When I find something that works, that's it. And I was very fortunate. I had sponsors, so I always had new bikes, and I had new shoes, and I had everything brand new that I would ever want. And probably had 20 pairs of cycling shoes, but I really liked the pair of cycling shoes I was wearing, and I wore them for like 3 or 4 years straight and rode a lot of miles. And here I was in St. Croix, very, very hilly, tough course, and the leather part came apart from the carbon part. And with about probably 25 miles to go. So I basically was in the air. The leather part was attached to the clipless pedal, and the leather part was on my foot. And it was a half Ironman, so I don't bring power bars in a half Ironman. I only had gels. And I thought to myself, if I had a power bar, I would stick it on the bottom of my foot, but I didn't have a power bar.
You did have a power bar.
That was like the hope. So instead, I stopped at an aid station, which again I had never done in my entire career. This was like the last year of my racing. I stopped at an aid station and I said, "Does anyone have a power bar?" And they're like, "No." I said, "Do you have some duct tape?" And so they went and grabbed me duct tape, and I basically taped my foot to the pedal. I just taped it all the way, and I thought, I don't know what I'm going to do when I get to transition. I'm going to get there. And I rode as hard as I could, and I got to transition, and I just put my foot out, and out I went on to the run, and got the job done. And that's really what it's all about, is problem solving. Do the best that you can with your deck of cards. No excuses. And I know some of you are probably racing Challenge Daytona this weekend. How many part of SLAP group racing Challenge Daytona? A couple of you. It's going to be amazing. So, those are the sorts of things that I would have told myself when I was racing, and even now day to day, is there's no excuses, there's no giving up. You find a way where there is no way. And that's what I really did my whole career, and I try to still do in my day-to-day life. And that was one of those episodes. I mean, if your shoe came apart in a race, you poll 100 people, I'm going to guess most people wouldn't keep going. But, I always looked at it as, okay, this is what happens to me today. This is my day at the office. So I got to finish the day at the office, however I can finish the day. And I always believe that you find success in adversity. So, we remember that story now. I raced at St. Croix so many times, and that's the story we remember, because it's when you find success in adversity, it sticks with you. And so the next time you have adversity, you think, I can do that, and you do it. And so this weekend, for those of you racing in Challenge Daytona, or the next race that you plan to do, or the 5K, the park run, whatever it happens to be, find a way where there is no way. Find a way to get it done. There's something going on in your life right now. That's what champions do. They find success in adversity. They find a way where there is no way. So there's a couple of statements that I used to say to myself when I raced. Attitude is more important than fact. That was a big one, and it's a big one even now today. Whatever fact is facing you, whatever it happens to be, it's not nearly as important as your attitude. So it's not our conditions that determine where we're at. It's not our conditions, it's our decisions about those conditions. That's what puts us in our place. And it's interesting, over the last couple of weeks, I have to say that I was going through a pretty rough time. And I told myself, you better read your own book. Exactly. That's you're in a bit of a downhill. And my mom's 86 years old. It's hard. That's hard for me, because my mom's my mom. She's supposed to be strong. I'm not supposed to be completing her sentences or helping her with X, Y, and Z, or finishing her sentences because she can't remember her thoughts. And she had just spent a few days with us, and I was heartbroken because I know my mom is getting old. And that's hard, and I don't want that, and that's a fact. But what's my attitude going to be? And it took me a while to come around to it, and I thought to myself, my attitude is, I've got my mom. I am so lucky. She is alive. And so instead of being frustrated or upset, it's going to be a game of charades. I don't know what's going to come out of my mom's mouth. I don't even know what she might mean, but we're going to play with it, and we're going to enjoy it, and we're going to enjoy where we're at, because attitude is more important than fact. And I am over 50 now, and we know that we're on the downward slope a little bit. And I've had a great, amazing career, and done things I should have never done. I've got dead flat feet. I've had them my whole life, genetic, dead flat. And that's not really good for your feet when you run 40 marathons, to have flat feet. And it's finally caught up with me. And I have a torn tendon in my foot. And the reality, the fact of that, is that, I really can't run anymore, which is horrific. That's death. And I've had to come and read my book, and realize that what's my attitude going to be? And what's interesting sometimes, and I bet you've been in this position before when you've had an injury or something, and the doctor actually says, stop, you have to sit, rest, relax, no training, you're done. You almost feel like, whew, permission. I don't have to do this. And it's interesting, and it's taken a while, trust me. It wasn't like, okay, I'm grateful for this torn tendon in my foot. No, it's hard. But I also realized that there's Lisa past, and there's Lisa present. And this is Lisa present. And Lisa present is going to have many adventures as this current person. And my adventures and your adventures aren't in the past. They're coming. And so we have to embrace whatever stage we're at. I read an interesting thing about Thanksgiving. We all just got through Thanksgiving. And it's so easy to be grateful for the great things, isn't it? I'm so grateful for the people I've met, my career. We're grateful. I mean, Kimberly and Kevin must be so grateful for this store and the community. It's so easy to be grateful for those things. But really, we're champions when we're grateful for the things we never wanted in the first place. Be grateful for the things you tried to prevent. You know, those are the things. And we all try to prevent them. You know, we don't want wrinkles as we get older. We don't want injuries. We try to prevent them. And then we get them, and it's hard to be grateful for them. Attitude is more important than fact. Whatever fact is facing you. And there are lots of times I got off the bike in a triathlon, and I was 20 minutes down. And let me tell you, that's not nice to hear. I was 20 minutes down. But there was not once that I said, I can't catch them. I will catch them. And if I don't catch them, well, at least I tricked myself into catching them. And I'd get off and I'd try my best and I'd run as hard as I could. And I'd tell myself, why am I going to catch them? Because I've trained hard. I've done all my workouts. I'm experienced. I've taken care of nutrition. I'd even lie to myself. I'm the best runner out here. I'm this, whatever it takes. It's all about the attitude. And how do we get a good attitude? I think one of the most important things you can do is to write a list of your assets. It's count your blessings. Sit down, honestly, sometime in the next few days, and write down all the things that you have going for you. I did this before every single race. I'd sit down, and these weren't the reasons I was going to win or be on the podium. It wasn't like that. It's all the things that I have going for me. And they wouldn't be necessarily just about workouts, etc. It'd be things like I'm educated, I'm loved, I've got a great family, I have my dream team, my sports doctors, chiropractors, my coach, my husband. I never quit a workout. I'm sympathetic, I'm empathetic. So there'd be all of these assets. So when you're out there in the pressure cooker, the race or the presentation or whatever pressure cooker you find yourself in, and you're like, oh my God, I cannot do this. You pull out that virtual asset list and you remind yourself all the reasons you can do it. And that's how you change the facts. That's how your attitude shines. Because you look at it and you say, oh, I'm pretty good. I've got a lot more going for myself than I originally thought. And so when I get off the bike 20 minutes down and seemingly out of the race, I pull out that asset list. And on that asset list was that I was a very good problem solver and I never quit, I never missed a workout, etc. I have a dream team. And I'd go out there and I'd give everything I possibly could to the event. I owed it to the event. I owed it to my team. I owed it to myself to be the best I could be with my deck of cards with a 20-minute deficit. And I'd go as hard as I could. And I remember this one race, Ironman Canada, and I'm Canadian, and I had won it a couple of times. I had won the race a couple of times, and there was a huge expectation that I would win again. And of course I wanted to win, but I never raced like that. That's external. I can't control what my competitors do. All I can do is train as hard as I can and be the best person I can be, and hopefully I win. But I don't know what's going to happen on the day. So I got into the race, and Belinda Granger, who was an Australian, was racing, and I had won Ironman Australia 5 times, and Belinda had not won. So needless to say, there was a little bit of a, but I love Belinda to pieces, honestly. And so anyways, but she really wanted to win on my turf. And off we went, and she's a great bike rider, and that is a beautiful bike ride at Ironman Canada in Penticton. And she got off the bike with a 20-minute lead. And I got off onto that marathon, and I just ran as hard as I could, and I was gaining on her. And I think I got to within 3 minutes with a sizable amount of time, like room, to catch her. And it was going to be right down to the wire. And it ended up that I did not catch her. But I believed I could. and I kept running like I could, and I never gave up. And I continually asked myself, are you doing the best you can right now? Every minute, on the bike, whether it was on the bike or the run, and every minute I said, yes, I am riding as hard as I can, I am running as hard as I can, I can't do anything different. And so when I got to the finish line and I finished in second place, I wasn't unhappy. There was no, woe is me, I'm so sad, I didn't win, blah, blah, blah. Other people were pretty sad. And I said, I'm fine. I did the very best I could. And that's all we can expect out of ourselves. Attitude is more important than fact. And one of my other favorite statements is, anyone can do good when the going is good, but a true champion can do good when the going gets tough. A true champion finds success in adversity. So switching that negative into a positive, and that's what's important. And this really came to light when I raced Ironman Australia. I think it was 2005. And it was one of my favorite races. I love that race, and I'd won it a few times. And like I said, you know, there was that expectation. Oh, Lisa, you're going to win again. I'm like, well, I can't have to do the race. But, you know, thank you very much. I never took that as pressure, though, to be honest, because they were only saying that because I had been successful and because they were nice, being nice to me. So if you don't want pressure, is the alternative to have not been successful? No, I wanted to have those wins behind me, so I guess I have to accept that there might be a little bit of pressure. But I turned it around. I never looked at it as pressure. I looked at it as a lot of good wishes. So this weekend, when you're racing Daytona, if people are saying, good luck, good luck, good luck, and you feel, oh my God, there's so much pressure. These people know they're going to be checking sports stats, they're going to be checking my time, I want to just vanish. It's all people just loving you. That's all they're doing. So off I was in Ironman Australia as the 4-time defending champion and, of course, wanting to do well. And this day of the race, everything went wrong. Everything possible went wrong. I haven't even started the race, and I'm running to the start of the race, and I step on a thumbtack on the grass, and I rub up against a fence. So I rip my race suit, which had legs, and I've got a thumbtack stuck on the bottom of my foot. It's 6 a.m., the race hasn't begun. So I look at my suit, and I'm like, okay, well, it's not going to open up on the course, so that's fine. And then I took the thumbtack out and stuck it back on the table, and I said, I'm not going to let a thumbtack destroy my race. This is my day. I prepared for it. I want to be here. There's nothing I would rather do today, and away I go. So I got into the swim, and Australians are amazing swimmers. There's not a slow swimmer among them. And it's a mass start, 3,000 people, and there I am at the front. And, you know, I was an average professional swimmer. I wasn't Sarah McClarty, but I did okay, but I was for sure not.
We're just loving on you.
We're just loving you.
And so I get into the swim, and the beginning is so important. You got to get out fast. So and if I could get out fast and get on people's feet, I could have a pretty good swim. So my swim ranged between 53 and 56 minutes. If I got in a good pack, I was going to swim 53. If I didn't get in a good pack, I was probably going to swim 56. That's sort of my scenario. So you get out, I'm going as hard as I can, and within the first 400 meters, I get to the elbow, to the goggles, and the eye. Which sounds like it should happen all the time, but it really had never happened to me before. So I was like, woo, the goggles are filled with water. What I didn't know at the time is I had a black eye, but I just dumped out the water, because I still had a long way to go, put the goggles back on, but now I've lost my group. I've lost the competitors that I wanted to swim with, namely Belinda Granger. And so anyways, I kept on going. So now I'm in the water, and I'm like, okay, Lisa, this is the adversity race. Let's just put the theme on it right now. I always like to have a theme when I race. It wasn't usually adversity, but anyways, we have to flow. We have to go with the flow on the race day. And I said to myself, Lisa, this is the day that you are going to prove that you really are a champion. It's so easy to let it flow. 4-time Ironman champion, 11-time Ironman champion. It just flows. But there's a lot of work that goes into champion. And today's the day where you actually prove that you deserve that title. It shouldn't be taken lightly, because a champion can find success no matter what. And you are going to find success today in spite of what's happened already. So a non-champion drops out right now. They can still call themselves the 4-time defending champion, but that is not a champion. Dropping out is not okay. So I put my head down and I'm like, okay, we're just gonna see how well we can do. Throw it at me, anything, throw any adversity at me, I'm gonna just like eat that up. So I kept on swimming and I swam as hard as I could and I got out. And I was a little bit further back than usual, but whatever, it was fine. I got out onto the bike and I thought, okay, I'm gonna have a great bike ride. And I'm out in about, I don't know, 4th or 5th place, whatever. And I'm riding as hard as I can. And Australia is renowned for very bumpy roads. And we all know how important nutrition is in an Ironman. It is very, very important to get your calories. And I was always the kind of athlete who controlled what they could control, which meant that in all 33 Ironmans that I ever did, I never had a sip of Gatorade once. And Gatorade was the sponsor. Never had a sip of Gatorade because it didn't work for me. So I was able to carry all my own nutrition with me every single race. Control what you can control. And so I have all my nutrition on my bike. And so what I used to do was I had this super duper water bottle that had 4 servings of my electrolyte. And I didn't drink out of it. I had them all pre-measured with a little line around it. And I would take my super water bottle and I'd pour it in my front water bottle cage up to the line. And then I'd add water to it, shake it around a little bit because the roads, and I'd have my concoction and it would be perfect. So on my bike, I could carry actually 7 servings of electrolyte drink with me and never have to touch an aid station for Gatorade. And I was very proud of this until I hit that bump and I lost that bottle and it was gone. And I was like, no problem. Now again, normally you'd be like, oh my God, this is it, my race is ruined, this is it. But I had already said, this is my theme. I'm just going to take whatever comes. And I'm going to problem solve because I'm the best problem solver out here. That's on my asset list. It says problem solver. Let's do it. So I lost that nutrition. I'm like, okay, no problem. There's aid stations and there's special needs station. And I always had a backup plan. That's what you do in Ironman. There's the plan and then the backup plan. So at the special needs station, I had my own electrolyte drink already mixed up because that's the ideal, obviously. You don't want to have to be mixing drinks. So I got to the special needs station. I'm calling out my number, and I don't get my special needs, which is my responsibility. You can stop. I could have slowed down a little bit more to get my special needs, but I didn't. So I made that choice that I would continue on without my special needs. So I've got the thumbtack in the foot, I've ripped my suit, I've got the black eye, I've lost my nutrition, I've missed my special needs. No problem. This is the theme of the day. This is where you prove that you are worthy of the title champion. I thought, okay, nutrition. Ironman. Sugar, salt, and water. That's all that's to it. Salt pills, I've got those so I can take care of my sodium. I'll take an extra salt pill every hour. Water, I can get at the aid stations. That takes care of the hydration. And sugar, the calories, I'll take an extra gel per hour to make up for my water bottle that I've missed. Sugar, salt, and water. Problem solving, that's what we have to do. And so that's what I was doing the rest of the bike ride. You wonder what we do out there for 180K. I mean, it's very busy out there. It's very busy. So I got off the bike and I got onto the marathon. And I'm just feeding myself all the positive thoughts that I possibly can. I'm looking at my asset list. I'm reminding myself that I will find a way where there is no way. I will catch everyone on the course. If I can see you, I can catch you. Attitude is more important than fact. The fact is that a lot has gone wrong. My attitude is that with every wrong, there's a right. And I will win this race. And I ran as hard as I could, and I was able to win the race. And that is what all of you can do. Because you're all in a race, somehow. A race every day, whether it be at work, or a race with your kids, making sure they're schooled properly and loved with all your heart, or with your sports, or with your accomplishments in sport, trying to finish your first 5K, whatever it happens to be, you will win that race as long as you really manifest that positive attitude. And whatever fact is facing you, know that you can change that fact and work at it by having that positive thought, reminding yourself of your assets, and reminding yourself that a true champion can find success in adversity. So that is my 3 little messages for you. Make that asset list. Attitude is more important than fact. And you are all champions because you can find success in adversity. So there you go. Does anyone have any questions or anything that you want to ask? You can, of course, can ask me afterwards. You're too shy.
Yeah, so Lisa will be here signing books if you want to have a book signed, and if you know anybody who would like one, it's a great Christmas present too, and she can sign it to that person as well. But like I said, it helps me a lot to read it and before races and make my asset list and all those kinds of things. Because there are many races you go into, you're like, oh, did I really train? And did I, everything's going on like crazy. But then if you have that and you remember it as you're starting, and then throughout the race, it just makes things a whole lot easier and lighter. So I totally believe in it as well. So. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Yeah, so we're going to have a run tonight. So if y'all came to run, you can meet in front of the store. And then if you are here and want to have book signed, we can do that and whatever else you want to do.